So I want to share with you, I think I've mentioned this in a couple of places before, but I want to share with you a self-massage technique that I learned from my Shiatsu teacher. It's called, he referred to it as the Dao Yin. And it's basically a self-tapping along the channels, the acupuncture channels. I love this massage. It's one of my favorite things that I took from school. And if I were more diligent, I would probably do it every day, but I don't. I'll be completely honest. But that's maybe something you can shoot for, whatever feels good. Um, so again, it's a tapping. We're going to tap all over the body with our hands. We're going to tap the head. We're going to tap the neck. We're going to tap onto the arms and legs, the abdomen, even in the back, as far as we can get to. And I want to share this because this is an activity that doesn't require any level. It doesn't require any level of fitness, to be honest. So you don't need to have great balance. You don't need to have some ab muscles so that you can stand in some kind of specific pose for a long time. You don't even have to be able to stand. So this is good for just about everybody. And it can help, for me, it can help even reducing a migraine. In fact, I've had it eliminate a migraine for me before, but that's not, I mean, there's no guarantees of anything like that. It can just feel good. And the real purpose from a Chinese medicine perspective or East Asian medicine perspective is to move qi in the channels. So in our theories, you can have illness arise from where qi gets stagnant. So you might have a spot that's especially tender or sore, that's not visibly bruised, you haven't injured it that you remember of, and that could be stagnant qi. So what we're doing is helping to move that. And again, to me, it's easy to do. It only takes maybe 15 minutes tops once you get it down. You can do it anywhere. You could do it at work. You could do it laying down in bed. You could do it seated in a chair. So I do want to address ability. This is an activity that anybody of any size could do. If you are visually impaired, I'm going to try to talk through each of the steps in depth so that you can follow along. And if you're physically impaired, you're going to get to the body parts that you can get to. If there's a body part that you can't get to for whatever reason, that's okay. You could go through this in your mind with us, imagining accessing that body part. And if you are interested, you could also share with a caregiver or something like that and have them help you with this. So it should be pretty easy for everybody. Definitely any kind of movement can bring up stuff for you. So one of the things I do want to go over is a few precautions. As with any kind of movement, you might want to touch base with your primary care provider to make sure that it's appropriate for you. In particular, with this kind of self-massage, you want to be wary of areas where you have had like a recent surgery, or you might have heavy bruising. You also might want to avoid open wounds. You could follow along again in your head without actually tapping or putting any pressure on that area. You might be extra cautious if you're aware of a history of blood clots or things like that. Again, checking with your primary care provider to make sure that it works for you. Works for you. So, what do you need to do this practice? You don't need anything. You just need a little bit of time. You can, again, be laying down. You could be seated in a chair. It's back there. Whatever's comfortable. You could be standing. I'm sitting cross-legged, just so you know. You could be wearing whatever you want to be wearing. This is a shirt that I'm going to wear to work here in a little bit. So you can wear this in your work clothes. You could do this in your work clothes. I'm wearing workout pants on the bottom, but the only reason I'm doing that is because I want you to be able to see where I'm actually tapping on my legs. And so that makes it a little bit easier for you, I'm hoping. But you could do this in any sweatpants, jeans, whatever. So I think we've covered all the basics. I'm going to do this in sections. The first place that we're going to start is the head and neck, and we're going to tap all over. You're going to get your hair crazy messy. Mine's going to end up looking really big. But anyways, then we're going to move down to the arms, and then chest and back, and then we're going to move down to the legs. And we're going to hit the feet and the arms while we're doing it. And hands, sorry. We're going to even give ourselves a foot massage and a hand massage. So, if you have on big jewelry, you might want to take that off. I'm going to take off my glasses because I am going to massage my face. If you have on heavy makeup, you might smear the makeup, so you might keep that in mind. It definitely could be a best thing to do before you put on makeup or at the end of the day. But you could do this really lightly with makeup on too. Or any kind of devices. You can work around those too, okay? So starting with the face, we're gonna we're gonna start with our head. So we're gonna start with giving ourselves a nice scalp massage. So there's a bunch of channels on the head. We're gonna start in the middle and just work our way down towards the ears. Don't worry about how your hair is gonna look or any like dandruff or anything like that. You're just gonna do what feels good and relax that scalp, maybe feeling the scalp move across the skull even. Working our way down towards the ears and the temple. And if this is a bit too much on your fingertips, you can always use your knuckles. That's fine. And the amount of pressure should be comfortable. It shouldn't hurt. And I'm massaging all the way down to my ears. The back of my ears. And then I'm going to go back to my forehead. Getting every inch of your forehead. And again, I'm using my fingertips and kind of bracing my hand on with my thumbs. And I'm working my way to the sides of the eyes. I'm going to massage, just briefly kind of pinch the eyebrows and around the eye socket. And then the nose, getting the bridge of the nose all the way out, kind of across those sinuses. This can feel really good when you have a sinus headache. Getting into that spot where the nostril meets the face, all the way down into the upper lip, and on the outside of the lips, massaging the top to the gums. And now I'm working my way along the tops of the cheeks. There's a ton of muscles here, and they're super strong muscles. So we're going to give those a little extra attention. And I'm using a little bit of a circular motion as I'm doing this. And you can do the same, or again, you can use your knuckles. I have a little cut on this knuckle, so I'm not going to do that, but you could easily do that. Getting into the jaw, the joint where the jaws meet. So if you have a little bit of TMJ, that can be an area to linger on a little. And I'm just kind of running my thumbs down the sides of my jaw. And I'm going to massage my chin and that from the outside, that lower gum. And now I like to run my thumbs along the ridge of my jaw, up underneath the jaw, kind of hooking underneath. So I have a lot of tension there, so I spend a little extra time there. It's up to you. It's hard to talk while I'm doing it though, so give me a little pause. I'm kind of going back and forth on that, and then we're going to get to the ears. And there are a ton of acupuncture points on the ears. In fact, there's a whole school of just ear acupuncture. So we're going to spend a lot of time on the ears. You're just going to kind of pull them away from the face and a little bit. And again, it should be comfortable. It shouldn't hurt. And I'm going to run my finger along the ridges and the little valleys on the inside of my ears. It feels really good. And then the next thing you're going to do is work along the neck. And there's a muscle that runs all the way from the masseter to the clavicle is called the sternocleidomastoid. It's my favorite muscle, so I have to say it. But it's this big muscle along the front of the neck. You're going to give that a good pinch. I like to run my fingers down it. There's a ton of lymph nodes and through the neck, and so this can be really good for lymph movement. Again, it should be comfortable. And then I'm going to take my hands. They can either be flat, palm open, or you can make loose fists. And I'm going to beat the, actually we're going to massage the back of her head. We didn't do that yet. So it's okay if you don't do it right. You're just going to, I feel like Happy Trees, Bob Ross of Shiatsu. If I really did my hair, it could be. But anyways, okay, so it's serious. I'm going to massage the back of my head. And then we're going to, and I get a little dandruff, so. Again, you're not going to worry about that, though, because you're alone. And you're going to tap the back of your neck. Should be comfortable. And down to the shoulders. And the front to the shoulders and the back. Okay, I'm going to pause it right there for a minute, and then we're going to move on to the arm. Okay, my friends, I'm going to try to make this detailed enough so if you can't see this very well, that you can understand and follow along without making it complicated, which is a little bit difficult, but here we go. So we're going to start with tapping the arms. I usually start on the right side, so tapping the right arm with the left hand, but you can start on either side, whatever feels comfortable. You're going to use either the palm of your left hand or you're going to use a loose fist. The first channel we're going to do runs from the armpit on the inside of the arm, on this outer edge of the inside of the arm, all the way to the thumb. And then we're going to come back up the back of the arm from the fingertip all the way to the shoulder. So starting on the lung channel here, starting tapping from the armpit all the way to the inner fold of the elbow, the inner crease, kind of focusing on this outer edge of that, down the forearm, and all the way down towards the thumb. And again, we're kind of focusing on this radius bone, all the way to the thumb. And then we're coming back on the pointer finger, or the index finger, on the back side of the hand and arm, and we're focusing again kind of on this more inner edge of the back side of the arm. Again, the radius bone, and this is the large intestine channel. We're coming up the back of the arm, up to the shoulder, and I'm going all the way up the shoulder a tiny bit because that channel actually runs up there. Now I'm coming around the shoulder and back to the inside of the arm, and this time we're going to go down straight down the middle of the inside of the arm. This is what we call the pericardium channel, literally the heart protector. Down the middle of the forearm, kind of focusing anywhere it feels especially good, into the palm of the hand and the middle finger. And now we're coming back, the fourth finger on the outside of the arm. And we're tapping on, again, the middle, coming up the very middle of this, the back side of the forearm. Tapping right up that line. And we're heading kind of towards the back of the elbow now. And coming up the back, kind of the middle of the back of the arm. All the way to the top of the shoulder. Good points there. In fact, there's a point called heavenly bone. And now we're coming from the armpit, literally the middle of that armpit, all the way down the innermost aspect of the inside of the arm. So we're kind of following this line, if you can see, to the inside of the elbow, and then down the inside of the forearm, all the way out to the pinky. Stopping where it feels especially good. Getting the palm of the hand, the pinky, and now we're getting this side of the hand, side of the pinky. We're going to come up all the way the side of the arm here, kind of this outer edge of the outside of the arm, and then back the back of the arm up to the shoulder. And this is the small intestine channel. It's really good right there. Those muscles are tight. And up to the shoulder. Then you can kind of smooth those channels out, just like that. So we're going to shake those out now a little bit. And we're going to go to the left arm. So we're going to focus now on the left arm. And we're going to use the right hand either in a loose fist or palm. And we're going to come down this outermost channel of the inside of the arm all the way to the thumb. And then back up via the finger, the index finger, on the back side of the arm. Again, staying kind of towards that edge, where the radius is, the radius bone, or the inside edge of the outside of the arm, all the way up towards the armpit. So coming down the arm, now to the forearm, to the thumb. Now flipping the arm over and getting the pointer finger and coming up the back side of the arm. And up to the shoulder. And now we're coming back down the inside of the arm, down the very middle, the center of that arm, pericardium channel. And then flipping the arm over and coming up the center of the back side of the arm. And kind of veering towards the back of the arm as you come up onto the shoulder. And now heading to the armpit. And getting the inner side, getting if you have a flap, getting the flap basically of your upper arm to the inner aspect of the elbow, the inner forearm, coming down that side of the ulnar side of the hand, all the way to the pinky, and then back up the outside of the arm, back of the elbow, and up to the neck. So those are the arms. Now you might notice your neck feeling a little sore or your shoulders feeling a little tense. So I'm going to just refocus my attention there and give myself a little bit of a neck massage, shoulder massage. Loosening those up. I'm using my fingers, but you can again just do tapping there if you want. Reach across like this. That's the upper arms. Shake it out a little bit. Okay, so I've given myself a little bit of a neck massage here too, to go to kind of transition between the arms and the chest. So I'm using my fingertips, but if that feels like a little bit too much, you can just tap with a loose fist or a flat palm across the shoulder, opposite shoulder. Now we're going to move down into the chest. There's a ton of channels that run through here. So we want to hit them all, kind of wake them up. It's like we're saying, hello, chi, let's move. So if you have a pretty large chest, like mine or bigger, you can still tap around it. It's okay. We're by ourselves. So we're just going to give it a nice little tap, because there are channels that run directly through the breast, actually. Kind of get to the sides of the breast. It's nice and tender right in there. There's some muscles, the pec muscles in there. And then if you've had chest surgery, like top surgery or mastectomy, breast reduction, anything like that, this is especially good if you wear a bra regularly. We really want to wake up these channels and help them move through. Now we're going to move to underneath the chest, kind of getting this rib cage area. And again, we can kind of get the sides of the body too, working from the armpit all the way down to the hip. And now we're just going to kind of massage the belly. I'm tapping actually, it's hard for you to tell, but if you were looking, while you're looking at me, it's kind of a clockwise motion, because that's the motion of the intestines. So up the right side, across the belly, and down the left side, and then across the lower ab. Just kind of waking that up, and then kind of going into the inguinal crease, or the fold between the torso and the thighs. Shake my hands out. That's the front of the body. So now we're going to move to the back of the body. Basically, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. Good job, Maria, for doing this. Okay, no, that's really cheesy. But yeah, give yourself a pat on the back. We're going to reach around and try to get to as much of the back as we can. And I'm using the flat palm. That's easiest for me on the back, but whatever works best. Now we're going to make our hands into loose fists. So if you make your hand into a fist and you have the area where the thumb and the forefinger meet and there's like a little hole there kind of, that's what we're going to use to hit our backs with. And we're just going to work our way up and out. So from the top to the outer aspect, kind of to the sides of the body, along the rib cage, coming down the spine and those erector spinae muscles that get so tight, especially if we work at a desk at all or we're standing doing acupuncture all day, and working down those tight muscles into the low back, kind of focusing a little bit on the kidneys. Of course, you don't want to use too much pressure, but again, whatever's comfortable for you. And now I'm using the inner part of my fist, the palm aspect, and kind of doing the upper low back and hips. And then I'm going to move into the sides of my hips, and then I'm using the inside of my fist to just kind of beat those a little bit. Those get really sore on me, so I'm really giving it a good kind of punch because it feels good. You don't want to do that if it doesn't feel good. There's a bunch of channels that run through this area, and they can, if we are seated a lot, they can definitely get a little stagnant through there. I think that's part of why it feels so good. Okay, so that's the torso. Move on next to the legs. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to give you the best view of this. I'm still seated on the floor, but I'm gonna stretch my legs out. I can sit like this for a little bit, otherwise it's a little hard on my back. If this is hard on your back, make sure you have some support. You can, again, be seated at a chair. It's no problem. Whatever feels good. This shouldn't be painful. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just actually kind of waking up my legs because I've been sitting cross-legged for a little bit. So I just want to I'm massaging down the tops of my legs. So just like the arms, there's 3 channels on the inside of the legs. So the inner aspect, if you rotate your legs, your feet outward, that's at the inner aspect of the legs. And then if you rotated your feet inward, the outside of your legs, there's also 3 channels. We're going to tap all of those. So we're going to start on the outsides of the legs and move out towards the pinky toes. That's the direction those channels run. And then we're going to move up the legs on the inside towards the groin area. That's the direction those channels move. So you might even just kind of shake your legs out a little bit. I kind of roll them back and forth a little. Do that for a minute. Shake out my arms again. And then you can kind of flap the legs up and down a little bit. That's kind of massaging the back side of the legs a tiny bit, waking those up. And now we're going to start tapping again. And again, you can use a loose fist or the palms of your hands. We're going to start on what's called the gallbladder channel. And these we're going to do at the same time. So it's this outer channel. Actually, sorry, we're starting with the stomach channel. This is the channel that runs from the outside of the kneecap. The outer edge of the kneecap is that's kind of our guiding line. So we're starting, if you feel the front of your pelvic bones, your hip bones, then you can kind of run directly towards your knees. And then you're going to run, there's that bone that runs along the front of your shin, right? You're going to run just on the outer edge of that bone. All the way to your feet and your second toes. Then you're going to come up the inside of the toes, inside of the foot, inside of the big toe, on the top of the foot, up the ankle, and up the inside of that big shin bone to the inner aspect of the kneecap, and then up that big muscle on the thigh all the way to the groin. And we're going to do those at the same time. So, starting with the stomach channel. This is a big channel. So you can pretty much just massage this whole top of the leg practically. This is the channel we say is full of chi and blood. Really important channel. I'm kind of going up and down a tiny bit, but we're going to end on the downward toward the kneecap. And again, I'm lingering wherever it feels really good to me. And I'm going on the outside of the shin there a little bit. And now that I'm towards the ankle, I'm actually just going to stop at the ankle and rotate my leg out. So I stopped about right there at the outside of the ankle. And now I'm rotating in and getting the inside of that big bone, or the spleen channel. Just give it a little extra tension and make sure it feels good what you're doing. And then we're running at the inside of the knee and the inside of the thigh, all the way to the groin. I'm using the inside of my fists now to kind of get that groin attachment. And now we're flipping the legs in again, and we're going to the side of the thighs, and we're going to really give this a good, this one you might need a little extra oomph on. This is the gallbladder channel. That IT band that's so tight, that's the gallbladder channel. Spend a little extra time on that. All the way down to the knees. And again, wherever it feels good, just linger a little bit. There's no set amount of time you have to take on this. And if all you have is time to just quickly go down each of the channels, that's okay too. I'm spending a little bit more time because I have it and because I'm teaching you. Now I'm going down the side of the leg, side of the lower leg. So the biggest bone that goes down the lower leg is the tibia. That's the one in the middle. That's stomach and spleen channels, those first two that we did. Now we're over towards the fibula, that little bone on the outside of the leg. And we're going to work all the way down that to the ankle again, and then flip around. See, I didn't do this side. Now we're going to do, I pull in my legs kind of almost cross-legged to get to this one now. We're going on the inside of the leg for the liver channel. Inside of the calf almost. That one can be a little tender too, especially if we're a little anemic or we're on our period. For menstruating, this one can be tender or about to. The liver channel is heavily associated with blood. And then we're coming all the way up the inside of the thighs into the groin again. And now we're going to switch to the back side of the legs. This is the bladder channel. So what I do is I just bring my knees up a little bit, and I just take the flat aspect of my hands and I pat the back of my legs. When I get to the knee, the inside of the knee, I do use a fist and I kind of dig up in there a little bit. That feels good. There's 3 channels running through there actually. And now I'm using the back sides of my hands to just kind of get the calf muscles activated here, tapping down against the back of the lower legs. Bladder channel. Ooh, it feels really good there along the Achilles. Now we're going to flip that inside again, and I'm going to go from kind of the arch of the foot, the back of the ankle, all the way up the kind of the inside of the calf again. So we've kind of gone here towards along that tibia, along the kind of middle of that inside of the lower leg. And now we're coming up this third aspect, the innermost aspect of the inside of the leg. Again, if you just happen to do this whole area with the palm of your hand and you're not sure exactly where you're tapping, that's okay. You'll get it eventually. You'll be able to distinguish eventually just by touch. And you can always look up the different channels online too to see where they are exactly. And I'll give you a drawing at some point. Okay, so we've just done the kidney channel. Now what we're going to do is we're going to massage our hands and feet. So I like to start with my feet, but you can start with your hands. You could do your hands after you did your arms. However you want to do it, it's fine. I kind of like to hold my hands to the last because they're my tools and they're a little more tender usually. So I like that as a treat. So starting with my feet, now what I'm going to do is I kind of pull up one foot towards me. This can be really challenging for folks. So if you can't get to this, what I would suggest is to take a tennis ball, and I don't have one. I should have brought one in here. And just rub your foot over that tennis ball. I can make this work with a candle. I'm going to just use the example of, let's pretend like this candle is a tennis ball. And I'm just going to roll the arch of my foot over that. So if you can't reach your foot to massage it with your hand, this is what you're going to do to the inside of your foot, okay? And you could use a candle if you don't have a tennis ball. It worked. All right, so now what I'm going to do, because I can reach my foot, and I'm going to do it so that it's comfortable and not hurting my back. Otherwise, don't do it this way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the outside of my foot, this outside kind of pinky edge, and I'm just going to actually squeeze that bone along there. So top and bottom, running my thumb along the bottom of my foot, the outer edge, and my fingers on the outside, just pinching all the way to my heel. And I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to just dig them into the bottom of my foot, kind of running down each toe, starting with the toe and running down that bone all the way down to the heel, working towards the big toe. That's how I'm doing it, but you could work the other way too. Yeah, working down the big toe. And now I'm just kind of going to take my fingers and I'm going to just massage each toe individually. Just rub all the way around, sides and everything. Feels really good. Then I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to dig in between the bones a little bit of the top of my feet and just kind of imagine stretching that space a little bit. Again, it shouldn't hurt. Feels good. Now what I'm going to do is just kind of take a fist and kind of pat the bottom of my foot good, all the way across the arch and to the ankle. The heel, sorry. Then I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to massage my heel all around, my ankle. I don't know why I'm mixing up my heel and my ankle today. I'm massaging my ankle right now. I'm using my fingers and it feels super good. This is actually one of my favorite parts of the massage. All right, that's how we do the feet. Now I'm going to do the other foot. Starting with well, you can start with the big toe, you can start with the little toe. I'm squeezing each toe now. This is what I'm doing this time. Now I'm going to squeeze that outer edge of my foot. I'm going to dig my fingers into the bottom of my foot along each bone, from toe to heel, to the big toe, and then I'm going to rub each finger. And now I'm rubbing my fingers along between the bones on the top of my foot. There's a bunch of points through there. And now I'm gonna massage my ankles. Okay, now that I've rubbed both feet, I'm going to just pat my feet on the floor. Kind of wake them up and shake them a little bit. That feels good. Now I'm going to shake my hands and I'm going to finish with my hands. So I'm going to do basically the same thing with each hand, only I always start with my fingers. Massaging the sides of the fingers, the tops, and the insides of the fingers. Doing each finger, kind of rubbing between the bones on the back of the palm, back of the hand, and then even kind of digging my fingers of the opposite hand into my palm and really getting the thumb, it's the thenar prominence. Right? Anyways, rubbing my thumb. Now I'm going to do the opposite hand. I don't know about you, but I don't have air conditioning and I'm getting a little sweaty. It's a little bit of a workout. And really getting along each bone of the hand. Feels really good. Back side of the hand, palm of the hand. You can dig your fingers in a little bit. little attention and time to the wrist. And then just shaking those out again. Okay, that's it. So we're going to end with how we began, making sure you're seated comfortably, and just, if you're comfortable with it, you can close your eyes. If not, you don't have to close your eyes. You can just relax them a little bit. And just taking a few breaths, deep breaths, centering yourself back in your body. Each breath getting a little deeper, lasting a little bit longer. You can do those with me if you want, or we're done. So thank you. And this is loosely based on what my teacher Jim Cleaver taught us in Shiatsu, the Yin. Shiatsu self-massage. It's not specifically what he taught us, but it's very closely following what he taught. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me, shoot me a direct message. That's fine too. I hope that you found this helpful. Thank you.